Hello and welcome to another Sutton Group Realty Services webinar. Today we will be giving you 7 easy tips to sell to millennials. This generation is notoriously hard to understand, but these tips will give you the insight you need to reach this difficult market. Tip number 1. Build a connection. Take a step back from your typical selling techniques. Millennials will not respond well to someone who jumps into the sales pitch. They find hard selling techniques to be untrustworthy. You'll need to take the time to build trust with your millennial lead. Start off with coffee, lunch, or a neighborhood walk with your prospective client. Discuss their likes and dislikes and what they're hoping to get out of this experience. 45% of millennials expect to have an ongoing and engaging relationship with brands and retailers. Tip number 2. Be personable and genuine. Millennials like to work with people who have common values, so don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. In any communication, make sure you come across as being approachable and genuine. Use your social media pages, website, and marketing material to show your true personality. Millennials love memes. So much so that 36% of millennials said they would prefer to communicate using memes, GIFs, and emojis than actual words when they are using a digital platform. You can use memes as a way to show off your personality on social media. If you can't find what you're looking for on Google, just make your own. If you have an account connected with Back at You Media, sift through the content regularly to create your own brand look by adding or deleting posts that you know will appeal to your target audience. Tip number 3. Be present on social media. Use the social media platforms you already have to garner a deeper connection with your millennial prospects. Always read and respond to comments and messages. Millennials grew up surrounded by technology and expect fast response time. Try including photos of yourself or your style along with photos of your listings. It's good to follow a 20% to 80% ratio, 20% listings and promotion, and 80% of content that shows your own style and personality. Don't forget about linking your account with Sutton's Back at You corporate account for free content generation and posting. You can do this under the social media app in Home Base. Tip number 4. Use Instagram. It's no secret millennials love to use Instagram and Instagram stories. Make use of this fun feature to connect on a personal level with your millennial leads. They want to see that you're a real person with similar values. 59% of millennials are active on Instagram. You can find a more in-depth explanation of using Instagram in our Bring Your Real Estate to Instagram webinar, available here. Use the Instagram Stories feature as a place for all of your content that doesn't 100% fit into your Instagram page aesthetics. Don't forget to include calls to action, like a poll or an emoji meter. You can resize your image by pinching the screen. Once you have it where you want it, you can start editing. Add poll questions to increase engagement. To do that, just press the face button in the top right corner and select the poll option. Ask a question and come up with some fun answers. Yes and no can get boring. Hit done, and now you can place your poll anywhere in your story. Pinch the screen to resize the poll. Now we want to add a location so your audience knows where this place is. Press the same face button and select the location button. Here you can search cities, provinces, countries, parks, and landmarks. Click on your location and move it to where you want it. You can resize by pinching the screen and change the color by tapping on the location. This time, we'll use the same image, but instead of using a poll, we'll use the emoji meter. This one's fun because people can show you just how much they love, or don't love, your image. Click on the face at the top right and select the emoji meter. Ask a question, and your audience will drag the emoji to the right to show you their appreciation. You can change the color of the font and the type of emoji. Pinch to resize the meter and place it where you want it. You'll want to add locations anytime you can to keep the audience connected to your stories and give them the opportunity to research that area or topic. Now that you've mastered polls and emoji meters, we'll move on to font tagging, GIFs, and hashtags. Select your image. To add a GIF, press on the face icon at the top right and select the GIF button. Type in a keyword, and all the related GIFs will show up. Pick the GIF and place it in your story, pinching the image to resize it. GIFs can add another element to your still photos and stories. If you're using a product or service from someone, always mention them. This shows them some love, and they will usually return the favor. Select the mention icon and start typing the person or company's name. Resize by pinching the image and place it on your story. Tap the image to change the color. Add hashtags to reach a larger audience. You don't want too many hashtags in your story, but one or two can really bump your views. Make sure these hashtags are very specific to your story. Pinch to resize and place it in your story. You can tap the image to change the color. Now we'll want to add some text. Type in your message and choose a font and style. You can choose a predetermined color or use the dropper icon in the bottom left to choose a color within your story. This is one of my favorite tools for creating beautiful stories. Pinch to resize and place it in your story. Using multiple fonts makes the story look more dynamic and interesting. It can also help emphasize different points. Expert guidelines suggest using about 3 text fonts per image. Once you're happy with your story, press the Add to Story button in the bottom left-hand corner, and you can post it publicly or just send it to a select group of people. Have fun with your stories. Use your Insta Stories as a place to experiment with content and create your brand image. Tip number 5, be available and accessible. Being available and accessible is key when it comes to dealing with millennials. For a millennial, if you're not online, you don't really exist to them. The first thing a millennial will do after meeting you is to Google your name. Make sure you exist on multiple platforms, including websites, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Yelp. You need to be everywhere a millennial is going to research you. If you get lots of inquiries after hours, you should consider an AI chatbot. Chatbots are computer programs that will answer simple questions that your clients ask on your website. It's very similar to Siri or Alexa. 70% of millennials report having a positive experience with websites that have chatbots because they get instant answers to their questions. Don't forget that the customer journey doesn't end the second the client signs all the finalizing documents. Millennials are extremely brand loyal, and if you can become part of their bubble, you will be their go-to for all real estate business they have for potentially decades to come. Use your post-closing tactics to create return customers, and as nice gestures of thanks to your client. Use Sutton corporate supplier deals in home base to save on gifts such as kitchenware or flower arrangements. Millennials are tech savvy and materialistic, so you need to think on their level when it comes to closing gifts. Avoid gifts that are too general in nature. Millennials need to feel known and understood, so a simple bottle of wine isn't going to work. Tip number 6, keep your online information current and easy to access. Millennials' number one source of information is their friends and family, followed closely by the online community. Ask any millennial a question they don't know the answer to, and they will probably respond with, "I'm not sure, let's Google it." If you know that the internet is where your target market goes to look for information, then it only makes sense to make sure your information is easier to find than your competitors. Keep your websites up to date with current images and offers. If a millennial comes across an outdated page, or a page that's missing content, like an image or a bio, they will probably leave and move on to the next realtor. Having a current website will also increase your search engine optimization, or SEO, and give you better results on Google. It's good practice to get impartial people to go through your online platforms to test out how easy they are to navigate. If millennials are your target market, then have some young people you know test out your platforms and give you their feedback. Tip number 7, use their fear of missing out to close. This is probably the best tool you have at your disposal when it comes to making the sale with millennials. They cannot handle missing out on the next big thing. It's the YOLO, you only live once, and FOMO, fear of missing out, mentality that really sets this generation apart. FOMO, fear of missing out, is driven by social pressures and uncertainty. You can create some urgency around your sale by showing demand, exclusivity, and competition. Show them how in demand the neighborhood is and how fast homes like that are selling, or what great of a deal that property is. Sell them the life they could have in this house. 68% of millennials make their purchase decisions because of FOMO. With these tips at your hand, you can confidently reach out to the millennial market and begin to make those connections. Don't forget that many millennials think that house ownership is far beyond reach, and helping them realize that there are always options available is where we are able to maximize client conversions and create lasting business relationships. Thank you for joining us in this month's webinar. Keep an eye out for our follow-up email that includes all of the services used in this webinar and also includes a feedback survey link. We hope to see you all next month for another webinar. Thanks again!